The holographic display flickered in the grand chamber of the Galactic Tribunal, casting an eerie blue glow across the assembled delegates. Admiral Thexron of the Vorthak Empire adjusted his ceremonial battle armor as he stood before the joint assembly of the 5 greatest powers in known space. His 3 eyes gleamed with barely contained fury. The human colony of New Geneva was defenseless, he declared, his voice echoing through the crystalline halls. They had no military installations, no weapons of significance. Yet somehow, impossibly, they repelled our invasion fleet. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The crystalline hegemony's representative, a being of living silicon named Quartzius Prime, chimed in harmonious tones. Our calculations were flawless. Humans possess no advanced technology. Their ships are crude, their weapons primitive. How did a mere agricultural world destroy 3 dreadnoughts? Ambassador Veltar of the Shadow Collective hissed through her translator device. Perhaps the humans are not as weak as intelligence suggested. Our stealth ships reported strange energy signatures before contact was lost. The Mechanical Ascendancy's delegate, Unit Prime 9847, processed the data with mechanical precision. Error probability in initial assessment 97.3%. Recommendation: immediate reassessment of human capabilities required. Finally, the psionic dominion's mind speaker, Cerebrix, projected his thoughts directly into their consciousness. The humans' mental patterns are unusual, chaotic yet purposeful. We sensed something during the battle, a collective determination unlike anything in our archives. Admiral Thexron slammed his armored fist on the podium. Whatever tricks they used, it ends now. I propose formal alliance between our 5 empires. We will crush humanity before they become a threat to galactic stability. The vote was unanimous. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the tactical display with growing concern. Scattered across the hologram were 5 massive invasion fleets, each representing the military might of an empire that individually outgunned humanity 100 to 1. "Ma'am, we're receiving transmissions from Fleet Command," reported Lieutenant Martinez. "They're requesting all available ships to rally at the Sol defense perimeter." Sarah nodded grimly. She'd seen the reports from New Geneva, how colonist miners had jury-rigged their industrial equipment into improvised weapons, how farmers had turned their atmospheric processors into area denial systems, how children as young as 12 had helped coordinate defense grids using gaming interfaces. The colony had won through pure human ingenuity and desperate courage, but it had cost them dearly. Now the real war was coming. "Signal the fleet," she ordered. "All ships prepare for dimensional fold. We're going home." The combined armada of the 5 empires emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system like a plague of metal locusts. Nearly 10,000 ships of various configurations spread across the void, their weapons charging with enough firepower to crack moons. Admiral Thexron opened communications across all frequencies. "Humans of the Sol system, you stand accused of unprovoked aggression against lawful territorial expansion. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be swift." The response came not from Earth's government, but from an elderly woman sitting in what appeared to be her kitchen. She wore a simple floral dress and was calmly sipping tea. "This is Eleanor Martinez speaking for humanity," she said with the kind of tone one might use to discuss the weather. "My grandson Tommy is serving on the Defiance right now, defending people he's never met because that's what we do. You want to take our homes? Our families?" She took another sip of tea. "Well, honey, you're welcome to try." What followed was unlike any battle the galaxy had ever witnessed. The human fleet was outnumbered 50 to 1, their ships smaller and seemingly outgunned. But as the 5 empires advanced, they discovered something that their intelligence had failed to grasp. Humans didn't just fight with their ships, they fought with everything. Civilian cargo haulers suddenly revealed hidden weapon arrays. Mining vessels became mobile artillery platforms. Even passenger liners deployed fighters that moved with impossible coordination. The humans had turned their entire infrastructure into a weapon. But that wasn't the strangest part. As the battle raged, the 5 empires' commanders noticed their advantage diminishing rapidly. Human ships that should have been destroyed kept fighting. Weapons that should have run out of ammunition kept firing. Damaged vessels somehow repaired themselves mid-battle. Unit Prime 9847 was the first to identify the anomaly, detecting massive resource redistribution throughout human fleet. Ships are sharing power, ammunition, even structural components in real time. The truth was both simple and incomprehensible to the alien minds. Every human ship was crewed not just by its official complement, but by the digital consciousnesses of millions of volunteers. People had uploaded their minds to the ship networks, not permanently but temporarily, lending their intelligence, creativity, and will to the fight. A grandmother from Mars calculated firing solutions. A teenager from Europa rerouted power systems. A poet from Luna composed tactical algorithms. Every human who couldn't physically fight found another way to contribute. The five empires had brought their greatest weapons to bear against humanity. Advanced technology, overwhelming numbers, centuries of military experience. But humans had brought something the galaxy had never seen before. Every single one of them. Admiral Thexron watched in growing horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled. Not destroyed, dismantled. Human boarding parties weren't killing crew members. They were capturing ships intact and somehow integrating them into their own fleet within hours. How are they doing this? He demanded. The answer came from an unexpected source, one of his own captured bridge officers now speaking with perfect calm. They offered us a choice: join the fight to protect innocent lives or remain prisoners. Most of us chose to help. That's impossible. We are enemies. No, the officer replied. We were enemies. Now we're all just people who want to live. The battle ended not with humanity's victory, but with the five empires' surrender, not because they were defeated militarily, though they were, but because they were overwhelmed by something far more powerful than weapons. Hope. The human fleet hadn't just won. They had somehow convinced entire crews of enemy ships to switch sides. They had turned a war of conquest into a liberation. They had taken the galaxy's greatest threat and transformed it into its greatest opportunity for unity. In the aftermath, as surrender documents were signed and new alliances forged, Eleanor Martinez addressed the galaxy once more from her kitchen. You came here thinking we were weak because we fight for each other instead of against each other, she said, refilling her teacup. You thought that made us vulnerable. You were wrong. That's what makes us unstoppable. She looked directly into the camera, her eyes carrying the weight of every human who had ever stood against impossible odds. We don't just survive, honey. We make everyone else want to survive, too. The five empires had pledged retribution against humanity. Instead, they discovered what it meant to be human, and chose to become something better than what they were. Humanity had indeed written the final chapter, but it wasn't an ending. It was a beginning.